My cousin says I'm too successful to need my uncle's property and should give it to her struggling family. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. I never thought I'd be writing this, but here I am at 2 a.m., staring at my laptop screen and trying to make sense of what just happened at my family dinner. My name is Michael, I'm 27, and apparently, according to my cousin Jennifer, I'm too successful to deserve the property my Uncle Charles left me in his will. Let me provide some context. Uncle Charles passed away 6 months ago after a long battle with cancer. He was my father's older brother, a bachelor who never married or had children. Growing up, I spent every summer at his lake house in upstate New York, helping him with repairs, learning woodworking in his workshop, and listening to his stories about his travels. When other kids were at summer camps, I was with Uncle Charles, painting fences, fixing docks, and learning life lessons I still carry today. Jennifer, my cousin on my mother's side, is 32 and has 3 kids with her husband Brian. They've been struggling financially for years. Brian lost his job at the factory 2 years ago and hasn't found steady work since. Jennifer works part-time at a grocery store while trying to manage their household. I genuinely feel for their situation. It's tough raising 3 kids on one part-time income. The property in question isn't just any house. It's a modest 3-bedroom cabin on 5 acres of lakefront property. Uncle Charles bought it in the 1980s when land was cheap, and over the decades, he poured his heart into improving it. Every summer I spent there, we added something new, a deck, a boat dock, a workshop. The place is worth about $400,000 now, mainly due to the lakefront location. When Uncle Charles's will was read, I was shocked to learn he'd left the property to me. The will specifically stated it was because of all the summers I'd spent there helping him and the bond we'd formed. He left his savings to be split among his siblings, including my parents and Jennifer's mother, Patricia. Tonight's family dinner was supposed to be a simple get-together at my parents' house. Jennifer arrived late, looking frazzled as usual, Brian trailing behind her with their 3 kids. Everything seemed normal until dessert, when Jennifer suddenly announced she needed to discuss something important with the family. "I've been thinking about Uncle Charles's property," she began, her voice carrying that tone I recognized from childhood, the one she used when she was about to ask for something. "And I think we need to have an honest conversation about what's fair." My stomach dropped. I knew where this was heading. Jennifer continued, looking directly at me. "Michael, you're doing well for yourself. You have a good job, a nice apartment in the city, no kids to support. You're successful." She said the last word like it was an accusation. "Brian and we're struggling. We've got 3 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. The schools in our district are terrible. That property could change our lives." I set down my coffee cup carefully, trying to keep my composure. "Jennifer, Uncle Charles left the property to me. It was his decision." "But was it really fair?" she pressed. "You're single, making good money as a software engineer. You don't need a vacation home. We need a real home. The kids need space to grow, good schools, a chance at a better life." My mother shifted uncomfortably in her seat. My father cleared his throat but said nothing. Jennifer's mother, Patricia, watched silently. "It's not about need," I said, feeling my jaw tighten. "Uncle Charles left it to me because of our relationship, because of all the time I spent there with him." Jennifer's eyes flashed. "Oh, so because you had the luxury of spending summers playing around at his house while some of us had to work, you deserve a $400,000 property?" Playing around? I couldn't keep the anger out of my voice. I spent every summer from age 10 to 22 helping him maintain that place. I learned to repair roofs, build decks, maintain septic systems. I was there when he had his first heart attack, drove him to every doctor's appointment that summer. "Because you could afford to." Jennifer shot back. "Some of us had responsibilities. Some of us had to work real jobs, not play handyman for fun." The room erupted. My mother tried to mediate, suggesting we all calm down. Patricia defended Jennifer, saying she had a point about need. My father finally spoke up, reminding everyone that Charles's wishes should be respected. Brian sat silently, staring at his phone, letting Jennifer fight their battle. "You know what really bothers me?" Jennifer stood up, gathering her purse. "It's that you can't even see your privilege. You have everything, a great career, no responsibilities, freedom, and you still want more. That property could give my children a future, but you'd rather it sit empty 11 months a year so you can play weekend warrior when you feel like it." She turned to the rest of the family. "I hope you all think about what kind of family we are. One that hoards wealth while family members struggle, or one that actually helps each other." With that, she stormed out, Brian and the kids trailing behind her, leaving the rest of us in stunned silence. That was 6 hours ago. Since then, I've received multiple text messages from Jennifer, ranging from emotional appeals about her children's needs to accusations about my greed and selfishness. She suggested everything from me giving her the property outright to selling it and giving her the proceeds to letting her family live there rent-free indefinitely. I've also gotten calls from other family members. Some support me, saying Uncle Charles's wishes should be respected. Others suggest I should consider Jennifer's situation and be the bigger person. My mother called an hour ago, not taking sides but suggesting maybe I could work something out with Jennifer. Here's what frustrates me most. I worked hard to get where I am. I put myself through college with loans and part-time jobs. I spent years building my career, living in cheap apartments, saving money. Yes, I'm doing well now, but it didn't happen overnight. I sacrificed social life and leisure time to study and work. Those summers with Uncle Charles weren't vacations. They were hard work. I learned valuable skills, yes, but I also spent 12-hour days in the heat fixing things, painting, hauling lumber. When my friends were at the beach or playing video games, I was replacing shingles and digging drainage ditches. And it's not like I'm hoarding wealth. I donate to charity, I helped my younger brother Christopher with his student loans, I've lent money to friends in need. But apparently, being successful means I should give away my inheritance to someone who feels they deserve it more. The property means more to me than money. It's where I learned woodworking from Uncle Charles, where he taught me about integrity and hard work, where I grieved when my grandmother passed, where I went to think when I was deciding on my career path. It's full of memories and meaning that can't be quantified in dollars. But how do I explain that without sounding like the selfish, privileged person Jennifer is painting me as? How do I maintain family relationships while also standing firm on what I believe is right? And why should my success be used against me, as if doing well means I deserve less consideration or respect for my own attachments and feelings? I'm at a loss. I know Jennifer is struggling, and I genuinely sympathize. But I don't think her financial situation entitles her to my inheritance. Am I wrong? Am I being selfish by keeping what was legally left to me? How do I navigate this without destroying my family? The sun is coming up now, and I haven't slept. I keep thinking about Uncle Charles and what he would want. He was a fair man who believed in hard work and keeping your word. But he also valued family. I just wish I knew how to honor both of those values right now. Update, 2 weeks later. I thought things would calm down after that dinner, but I was wrong. Very wrong. Jennifer has launched what I can only describe as a full-scale campaign to pressure me into giving up Uncle Charles's property. It started with Facebook posts, vague at first, about family members who value money over blood, and when success makes people forget where they came from. But they've gotten progressively more direct and hostile. Last week, she posted a lengthy rant about wealth inequality in America, using our situation as an example without naming names, though anyone in our family would know exactly what she was talking about. She wrote about how some people inherit multiple properties while hard-working families can barely afford rent, how the rich get richer while good people who've had bad luck suffer. The post got dozens of likes and comments from her friends, all sympathizing with her and condemning the unnamed, greedy relative. Some of the comments were brutal, calling me, without knowing who I was, everything from a typical entitled millennial to a heartless capitalist to worse things I won't repeat here. But the social media campaign was just the beginning. Jennifer has been systematically reaching out to every family member, presenting her case for why she deserves the property. She's created a whole narrative around it. According to Jennifer, I'm a tech bro who makes probably $200,000 a year. I make $95,000, which is good but not tech bro money, and owns multiple properties. I rent a one-bedroom apartment. She tells people I vacation in Europe every year. I went to London once, 3 years ago, and drive a luxury car. I have a 2018 Honda Civic. Meanwhile, she paints herself as a martyred mother trying to provide for her children against impossible odds. She doesn't mention that Brian turned down 2 job offers because they were beneath him, or that she chose to work part-time instead of full-time because she didn't want to pay for after-school care. The family is dividing into camps. My father and his siblings, except for one, support me, saying Charles's wishes should be respected. My mother's side is split, with Patricia firmly in Jennifer's camp and others trying to stay neutral. But the pressure is mounting. I've gotten calls from aunts and uncles I barely speak to, all with variations of the same message. Family helps family. Think of the children. You can afford to be generous. Don't let money tear the family apart. My grandmother Elizabeth, who's 84 and the family matriarch, called me yesterday. She was gentle but clear. Michael, dear, I'm not saying you should give up your inheritance. But maybe you could find a compromise? Perhaps Jennifer could rent it from you at a reduced rate? Or you could give her a portion of the property to build on. I love my grandmother, and disappointing her feels terrible. But I also know that any compromise will be seen as an admission that Jennifer has some claim to the property, and I'm afraid it will only lead to more demands. The situation escalated further when Jennifer showed up at my apartment building last Thursday. The doorman called up to say I had a visitor. When I came down to the lobby, Jennifer was there with her 3 kids, Tyler, 10, Ashley, 8, and Emma, 5. I wanted the kids to see where their cousin Michael lives, she said loudly, ensuring the doorman and others in the lobby could hear. Look, kids, see how nice it is. Cousin Michael lives here all by himself in this fancy building while you 3 share one bedroom. Tyler, the oldest, looked uncomfortable. Ashley stared at the marble floors with wide eyes. Little Emma just clung to her mother's hand, confused. Jennifer, this isn't appropriate, I said quietly, very aware of the doorman watching. What's not appropriate is hoarding resources while your family struggles, she replied. I wanted them to understand why we can't have nice things, because some people think they deserve everything. I knelt down to Tyler's level. Hey buddy, you want to see something cool? I pulled out my phone and showed him a picture of a video game he'd mentioned liking at the family dinner. I helped design part of this game at my job. His eyes lit up. Really? That's so cool. Jennifer yanked him back. We're not here to be impressed by your job, Michael. We're here because I want my children to understand injustice when they see it. You're using your children as props, I said, standing up, my anger finally breaking through. This is between us, not them. Everything I do is for them, she snapped. That's the difference between us. You think only of yourself. I think of my family. Uncle Charles was my family, I shot back. And he chose to leave the property to me. I'm sorry you're struggling, Jennifer, I really am. But that doesn't entitle you to my inheritance. She gathered the kids and headed for the door, but turned back for one last shot. When my kids can't afford college because we're stuck in poverty while you sit on empty property, I hope you remember this moment. I hope you remember choosing property over people. After they left, I stood in the lobby feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. The doorman gave me a sympathetic look but said nothing. I went back to my apartment and sat in the dark for an hour, questioning everything. Am I the villain here? Am I really choosing property over people? But then I remember that Jennifer and Brian have made choices too. They chose to have 3 kids while financially unstable. Brian chose to remain unemployed rather than take, beneath him, jobs. Jennifer chose part-time work over full-time. Why am I responsible for subsidizing their choices? The next day, I called my lawyer. I wanted to understand my options and protect myself legally. He confirmed what I already knew. The property is mine, clear and simple. Uncle Charles's will was properly executed and very specific. But he also warned me that family disputes over inheritance can get ugly and suggested I document everything. So I've started keeping records of every interaction, every text, every social media post. It feels wrong, treating my family like potential legal adversaries, but Jennifer's behavior has me worried about what she might do next. I've also been thinking about Uncle Charles more than ever. We had a conversation once, the summer after I graduated college, about success and responsibility. He told me, Michael, never apologize for what you earn through honest work. But also remember that success comes with the responsibility to be generous, on your own terms, not someone else's. I want to be generous. I've actually been planning to offer Jennifer and her family the use of the property for 2 weeks every summer, my treat, so their kids can have some of the same experiences I had. But I'm afraid if I make that offer now, it'll be seen as weakness, an admission that she has some valid claim, and the demands will only escalate. My therapist, yes, this situation drove me to therapy, says I need to set clear boundaries and stick to them. She says Jennifer's behavior is manipulative and that giving in to emotional blackmail only encourages more of it. But she also acknowledges how painful it is to be cast as the villain in my own family. My girlfriend Sarah, who I've been dating for 6 months, has been supportive but is clearly uncomfortable with the situation. She comes from a family where money is never discussed, and the open hostility in mine shocks her. I worry this drama is affecting our relationship too. Yesterday, I made a decision. I wrote Jennifer a letter, an actual physical letter, not a text or email. In it, I expressed my sympathy for her situation but firmly stated that the property is not up for discussion. I offered to help in other ways. I'd be happy to tutor Tyler in math and science, he's struggling in school, help her update her resume and look for better employment, or even help Brian network in his field. I haven't sent it yet. Part of me hopes that if I wait a little longer, She'll come to her senses and we can have a real conversation about how to move forward as a family. But the other part knows that's probably wishful thinking. This morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a string of texts. Apparently, Jennifer told her kids they could have a big birthday party at the lake house this summer, and now I'm the monster who's ruining a child's birthday. The manipulation never stops. I'm exhausted. I never wanted this fight. I just wanted to honor my uncle's memory and keep the place that means so much to me. But somehow, I've become the family villain, the selfish success story who won't share with those in need. I still don't know what the right answer is. I just know I'm tired of being punished for doing well in life, tired of being manipulated, and tired of family members who seem to think my achievements make me less deserving of respect or consideration. Tomorrow, I'm sending the letter. Whatever happens next, at least I'll have stated my position clearly. I just hope there's a family left when this is all over. Final update, 3 months later. I need to write this final update because the situation with Jennifer and the property has reached a conclusion, though not the one anyone expected. After sending my letter, things went quiet for about 2 weeks. I foolishly thought Jennifer had accepted my position and we could start healing. Then came the Saturday that changed everything. I was at the lake house for the weekend, doing some spring maintenance. It was early May, and I wanted to get the property ready for summer. I was up on a ladder cleaning gutters when I heard cars pulling into the driveway. Not one car, multiple cars. I climbed down to find Jennifer, Brian, their 3 kids, and, to my complete shock, Patricia, my Aunt Nancy, and 3 other cousins with their families. In total, about 15 people were getting out of cars, kids running around, coolers being unloaded. "What's going on?" I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew. Jennifer stepped forward with a bright, false smile. "We're here for Emma's birthday party. I told you about it. The kids are so excited to finally see their new lake house." "Jennifer, I specifically told you." "Kids," she called out, ignoring me completely. "Come see your new vacation home. Isn't it beautiful? This is where you'll be spending your summers from now on." The children ran toward the house, and I had to physically block the door. "Jennifer, stop. This is not happening." "Oh, Michael," Patricia chimed in, "don't make a scene in front of the children. We're family. Surely you can share for one day." That's when I noticed Brian unloading what looked like overnight bags. This wasn't just a party. They were planning to stay. "Everyone needs to leave. Now," I said firmly. Jennifer's mask dropped. "Or what? You'll call the police on your own family? On children?" She turned to the kids. "See, children. This is what greed looks like. Cousin Michael has this whole big house all to himself, but he won't even let you have a birthday party here." Tyler looked confused and hurt. Ashley was near tears. Little Emma just wanted to see the lake. My heart broke for them. None of this was their fault. "Tyler, Ashley, Emma," I said gently, "I'm sorry, but your mom didn't ask permission to come here today. You can't just show up at someone's house without being invited." "But Mom said it was our house too now," Ashley said in a small voice. The fury I felt toward Jennifer in that moment was beyond description. She was using her children as weapons, lying to them, setting them up for disappointment. "I'm calling the police," I said, pulling out my phone. "You wouldn't dare," Jennifer sneered. I dialed 911. The room exploded in chaos. Patricia called me heartless. Nancy tried to grab my phone. Other relatives shouted about family loyalty. The children started crying. Brian, as usual, did nothing. When the sheriff's deputies arrived 20 minutes later, they found a circus. Jennifer immediately played the victim, telling them about the family dispute and how I was cruelly evicting children from their deceased great-uncle's property. I showed the deputies my ID, proving my address matched the property. I showed them the deed in my name. I explained that these people had shown up uninvited and refused to leave. The law was clear. They were trespassing. The deputies gave everyone 15 minutes to pack up and leave. Jennifer made sure to loudly explain to her children that mean cousin Michael called the police on us, and this is why we can't have nice things. As they loaded their cars, she kept up a running commentary about selfishness and greed, ensuring her kids would remember this as the day their cousin chose property over family. As they drove away, Tyler gave me a look that broke my heart, confusion, hurt, and disappointment all mixed together. I wanted to explain, to tell him the truth, but I knew his mother would just twist anything I said. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Jennifer posted on Facebook about how I'd called the cops on children and ruined a 5-year-old's birthday party. She conveniently left out that she'd shown up uninvited with 15 people planning to squat in my house. The family exploded. I was officially persona non grata on my mother's side. Patricia called me a disgrace. Nancy said I was dead to her. Even some of my father's siblings suggested I'd gone too far. But here's where things took an unexpected turn. About a week after the incident, I got a call from Brian's brother, Joseph. I'd only met him a couple of times at family events. He asked if we could meet for coffee. "I need to tell you something about Brian and Jennifer," he said when we sat down. "This isn't their first time doing this." It turns out that 5 years ago, Brian and Jennifer had pulled a similar stunt with Brian's elderly grandmother. They'd convinced her to let them help by moving in to take care of her. Within 6 months, they'd manipulated her into signing over power of attorney and were trying to get her house transferred to their names. It was only when Joseph and his siblings intervened legally that they backed off. "They see themselves as victims," Joseph explained. "Nothing is ever their fault. Brian lost his job. The company was against him. Can't pay rent. The landlord is greedy. Everyone else has more, so everyone else owes them." He gave me contact information for his lawyer and suggested I get a restraining order. "They won't stop," he warned. "They'll escalate until you make them stop legally." I took his advice. My lawyer filed for a restraining order based on harassment and trespassing. The social media posts, the texts, the showing up at my apartment and the lake house, it was all documented. The court hearing was surreal. Jennifer showed up dressed like she was going to church, Brian in his only suit. They brought the kids, clearly hoping for sympathy. Their lawyer argued that this was a family dispute that didn't warrant legal intervention. My lawyer presented the evidence: screenshots of dozens of harassing texts and social media posts, security footage from my apartment building, the police report from the lake house incident, and, crucially, an affidavit from Joseph about their history of this behavior. The judge granted the restraining order. Jennifer and Brian were ordered to stay 500 feet away from me and my properties and to cease all contact, including through third parties. Jennifer broke down crying in the courtroom, wailing about how I was destroying her family and punishing innocent children. The judge was unmoved, noting that she had created this situation through her own choices. As they left the courthouse, I heard Emma ask, "Mommy, why can't we see Cousin Michael anymore?" "Because he's not really family, sweetheart," Jennifer replied loud enough for me to hear. "Family helps each other. He only cares about money." That was 2 months ago. The restraining order caused a complete fracture in the family. My mother's side essentially excommunicated me. My father's side is supportive but tired of the drama. Family events are now split. If I'm invited, Jennifer's supporters aren't, and vice versa. But here's the thing, I found peace. The lake house is peaceful again. I go there most weekends now, continuing the maintenance and improvements Uncle Charles and I started. I've begun volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, using the construction skills he taught me to help families who genuinely need homes. And in a strange twist, Tyler reached out to me through his school email last week. He's been researching colleges and careers in technology. His message was simple: "Mom says I can't talk to you, but I want to learn to code. Can you recommend some resources?" I sent him links to free coding courses and told him I'm proud of him for taking initiative. I don't know if we'll stay in contact, but I hope he knows I don't blame him for any of this. Sarah and I are still together. She's been incredibly supportive through this ordeal. We're actually planning to spend a week at the lake house this summer, our first real vacation there together. I've also started therapy to deal with the guilt and grief of losing half my family. My therapist keeps reminding me that I didn't cause this split. I simply refused to be manipulated and stood up for my boundaries. Sometimes I lie awake at night wondering if I could have handled things differently. Should I have just given Jennifer the house to keep the peace? But then I remember Uncle Charles and everything he taught me about integrity and standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. The lake house is mine, legally and morally. But the cost was higher than I ever imagined. I lost aunts, uncles, cousins, relationships that may never be repaired. Jennifer's children will grow up thinking I'm a selfish monster who chose property over family. But I've gained something too: self-respect. The knowledge that I can stand firm in my convictions even when facing enormous pressure. And the peace that comes from refusing to enable toxic behavior, even from family. Uncle Charles once told me, "Michael, the measure of a man isn't what he accumulates, but what he refuses to compromise." I think he would understand the choice I made, even if it came at such a high cost. To those facing similar situations, my advice is this: document everything. Get legal help early. Don't negotiate with emotional terrorists, even if they share your DNA. And remember that family isn't just about blood. It's about mutual respect and healthy boundaries. The lake house stands quiet now, filled with memories of better times. I'm slowly making new memories there, better ones. And sometimes, when I'm working on a project in the workshop, I can almost hear Uncle Charles saying, "You did good, kid. You did good." That's my story. It's not the ending anyone wanted, but it's the ending Jennifer forced through her choices. I protected what was mine, maintained my boundaries, and learned that sometimes losing toxic family members isn't a loss at all, it's freedom.